This never happened to the other fellow.
Hello, welcome back to the Real Screen Time. I'm Andrew Thomas. I'm here with fellow Bond Christopher Johnson.
Hello, everyone.
And we're going over the Soul Bond movie with the Soul Bond guy.
Yeah, we're discussing on Her Majesty's Secret Service with George Lazenby. The one film George Lazenby ever did for the Bond franchise.
Oh. Go over.
The overview? Okay. On Her Majesty's Secret Service is the 1969 spy film based on the 1963 novel of the same name written by Ian Fleming. The film is the sixth in the James Bond series produced by Eon Productions. The film was produced by Harry Saltzman and Albert R. Broccoli and directed by Peter R. Hunt in his directorial debut after serving as a film editor and second unit director for previous films in the series. The script was written by Richard Maibaum. The film stars George Lazenby in his first and only film as James Bond, replacing Sean Connery after he decided to retire from the role, alongside Diana Rigg, Telly Savalas, Bernard Lee, Gabrielle Ferzetti, and Ilsa Stepat.
Go with the synopsis.
Okay. Agent 007 and the adventurous Tracy D. Vincenzo join forces to battle the evil Spectre organization in the treacherous Swiss Alps. But the group's powerful leader, Ernst Stavro Blofeld, is launching his most calamitous scheme yet. A germ warfare plot that could kill millions.
I thought it was a good movie.
Yes, overall, it is a very good film.
Yep.
I know back when the film first came out, not a lot of people liked it because, of course, everybody was so used to Sean Connery.
Yeah.
So to see a new actor, and especially an actor that really didn't have a lot of acting roles yet. It took a while for people to get used to the whole idea.
Yeah.
But I know now, all these years later, a lot of people really love this film.
Yes.
And even some of the weird individuals, Brad Jones, actually consider George Lazenby to be their favorite Bond.
He also really likes Halloween 3 also, so.
He's weird.
I kind of agree with Halloween 3, but going back on subject.
True.
Yeah,
well,
I thought George Lazenby did fine as Bond, although I think the thing that kind of got on with the audience was when he was sort of mocking the Connery Bond, especially like I think there's this lead scene where he looks at the old picture of Sean Connery as Bond, sort of humorously.
Oh dang! He did what the actor who played Ferris Bueller in the TV show version of it did to Matthew Broderick.
Yeah,
that's messed up.
Yeah, did that as a thing in the only time we see his office. Yeah.
But, seeing as though you brought him up, why don't we talk about the man himself? James Bond, played by George Lazenby.
He did fine.
Yeah, overall, he did a good job. It was just... You could tell he wasn't used to acting. This was legitimately his first major acting role. And there were times where... Yeah, I would say Lazenby was a bit wooden.
Yes.
But when it came to the action scenes and like the really emotional scenes, he had it down.
Mainly with Tracy, yeah. The emotional scenes, yeah. Even though he was also sort of cheating on her with the girls.
Oh yeah, the Angels of Death.
Yeah. Which you were asking, isn't he still with Tracy?
Yeah. That it. We'll get a bit more into that a bit later, but I do see a unique thing with his Bond. You know, he's the one Bond that was like, I'm willing to leave this all behind because I actually found the girl.
Yeah.
I've been with a number of girls, thought it was going to work, didn't end up working, but this one, this is the one.
Yeah.
And for him to lose her in the way that he lost her, that's what probably turned him into the Bond that we end up seeing later on with Timothy Dalton. I mean, we still had a bit of fun, but there was still that hurt during Roger Moore.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting to see that subtle evolution with each actor. And oh yeah, George Lazenby also had to play Bond acting as Sir Hilary Bray, and the man wasn't good enough to play the character that they actually had to dub his voice. Yeah.
The only time Bond got dubbed.
Yeah, with all the various other actors, whether they were the Bond girls or even some of the villains, having to be dubbed, they actually had to dub the actor who was playing James Bond just because he couldn't do a good accent as Hilary Bray. It's a weird thing. It's a weird thing. I mean, your thoughts on the whole situation?
Well, with the dubbing, the dubber sounded similar to George Lazenby that I really couldn't really tell, but now knowing the history, it is sort of weird.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, when it came to certain parts of the film, Lazenby was on point. Other things, not so much. Plus, I would also like to acknowledge Lazenby had a unique way of dressing compared to some of the other Bonds. He dressed a bit more like a dandy, you know, with the frilly ruffled shirts, and plus he's the only Bond to wear a kilt, yet he isn't from the countries that two other actors would be wearing kilts. Yeah. Connery was a Scotsman. Brosnan, Irishman, both wear kilts, yet you had the Australian wearing a kilt. But I like the fact that distinguishes Lazenby from some of the other Bonds, just like how Roger Moore would at times wear the turtleneck, or he would wear the safari suit. You know, it gives each actor a unique thing. I
Yes.
mean, your thoughts?
Yeah, I thought it was a good look for just his Bond. Only,
Plus, I think part of his style of dress possibly inspired Austin Powers.
Yeah.
With the ruffled shirt.
mm-hmm.
But with talking about Bond, we talk about the Bond girl.
Mm-hmm.
Countess Tracy di Vicenzo, played by Diana Rigg.
Then the Avengers star, because she was the second one because of Honor Blackman in the Connery era. Yeah. She wouldn't be the last because we get Patrick McNee in the Roger Moore era.
Very true. Very true. Hey, they were used to the idea, so it fit on like a glove for all of them.
Yep.
Diana Rigg was the true anchor of this whole film. She truly was the one that made sure that this film would be remembered the way it is.
Yeah, although she does disappear for a huge chunk thanks to Bond being disguised.
Well, yeah, very true. But later on, she would prove to be one of the Bond girls that was willing to get involved when, serious things were going down.
Yeah, although I think she also didn't like that her father kind of sought her to be set up with Bond permanently.
Well, yeah.
At first, yeah.
And she wanted to find more for her life. That's why in the beginning of the film, she was so depressed that she was willing to drown herself in the ocean, causing Bond to have to save her. But I really like the chemistry that she and Lazenby had.
Yep.
She really helped Lazenby, find his groove with some of those more emotional, romantic scenes, and it really paid off big time.
Yes.
Plus, also, let's not forget, when it came to the big car chase, she was the one driving. Which, yeah, she was willing to get involved in some dangerous situations, though the funny thing about it is Lazenby didn't have the insurance, so they were like, yeah, we're not going to risk this man getting hurt. Why don't we let Diana drive the car?
Yeah.
Because she at least has insurance.
Yep, and she was pretty much the Avengers babe of the 70s.
Oh, more popular than Honor?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Well,
especially with the DVD and Blu-ray sets, it's always the shots of Diana Riggs
in the cat suit.
Yeah, there. Of course, we're going to be mentioning her again once we get mentioned the Matt Smith era of Doctor Who, because she does come back.
Very true.
In a very weird way.
But it was very good.
Yeah.
And was that one of her last roles before her passing?
Next to Game of Thrones, I think.
Oh, she still did?
Yeah.
Okay. But Diana Rigg was fantastic in this film.
Yeah.
She really was. Well, with talking about the Bond girl, do we talk about the recurring cast of MI6, or do we go into the villain?
Let's go to the recurring casts for one last time.
Yeah, very true.
Again.
I know. But this was them in their prime.
Yeah.
Yep. Bernard Lee as M, and Lois Maxwell as Miss Moneypenny. They had actually a lot more to do in this film, this go around. Bernard Lee was still his usual gruff self, but he still showed the fact that he trusts Bond.
Yes.
That he knows Bond has sound judgment and, if things need to get done, he's gonna get them done.
Yeah.
Plus, M was also willing to send the whole cavalry during the big climax.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when Tracy gets kidnapped.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, that's right. She also was a damsel in distress. Mm-hmm. Yeah, she was the Princess Peach to Blofeld's Bowser. Mm-hmm. But, hey, it was great to see Bernard leave one more time.
Yeah.
You know, since we kind of saw the end of his career during Roger Moore, it was nice to still see him one more time in his prime.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, your thoughts?
Yeah, it was good. He mainly portrayed him as the guy who would still be upset with Sean Connery's Bond, even though it's not Sean Connery's Bond.
True. And, I mean, Miss Moneypenny.
Mm-hmm.
She was the one that had the foresight to make sure that Lazenby, when M said that, no, Bond, you can't go after Blofeld. Do you not remember the other times we've had to deal with Spectre? Mm-hmm. And Bond was like, well, screw you, M. Mm-hmm. I think I'm going to go ahead and peace out. I want my resignation. But Moneypenny was like, calm down, and I'm going to go ahead and turn your resignation into a couple weeks of leave.
Yeah.
See, she always looked out for Bond.
Yes.
And plus, this, with Lazenby, this is the only time Bond ever kisses Moneypenny. And I think this kind of solidified that during this run from Connery to Roger Moore, Moneypenny was in love with Bond. Mm-hmm. And you can really tell that when Bond and Tracy get married. You know, her crying when Bond throws her the hat and, you know, Bond and Tracy drive off, you know, to their honeymoon. Mm-hmm. That, yeah, she was truly sad that she never really got to have that type of relationship with Bond.
Yeah.
I mean...
Yeah, I like... They're in... This one showed her more layers, like you said. And her love for Bond. Pretty much. Yeah.
And it really solidified that.
Yeah.
And also the other person of MI6 that I feel like they did him a little bit dirty, but seeing as though they were adapting the film as closely to the book, it was a little weird to have him in, and that's Desmond Llewellyn as Q. This was the one Bond film where no gadgets were needed or necessary.
Yeah, Q's just there.
Yeah, he had come up with the radio lint. The radio or tracking lint. Yeah, we really only see him at the beginning and at the end at the wedding. I mean, with what we saw him, it's still great to see Q, but yeah, I would have liked to have seen a little bit more of him. I mean, it's Desmond Llewellyn.
Yeah, I do agree with you, but like as we move forward or in the past of the Roger Moore thing, he does get more to do with the Octopussy stuff for makeup. Yeah,
he was actually a part of the cavalry to help. And how many of Octopussy's women did he get to hang out with after everything? Now, do we go into the people that help Bond, or do we go into the main villain?
The main villain.
Okay. Well, we deal with Ernst Stavro Blofeld again, but instead of
Donald Pleasance.
yes, instead of Donald Pleasance, we have a new one. Theo Kojak himself, Telly Savalas. It's a really hard argument on who's the best Blofeld because I really enjoy Telly Savalas in this.
Yeah. He inspired the Clancy Brown Lex Luthor in the cartoon.
And you can see it. You can really see it because Telly kind of brought that kind of suaveness to Blofeld that I don't think any of the other actors have done. But you still knew that the man was cunning, he was calculating, and he was dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, when it came to Donald Pleasance, you felt that eeriness, you know, with just his stare and the scar on the face. Well, with Telly Savalas, yeah, he may lure you into a sense of easiness, but you know when you least expect it. Or I really like that. I really like that with that version of Blofeld. Plus, this is the particular Blofeld that is willing to get his hands dirty. He actually goes ahead and has a full-on fist fight with Bond. As they're pretty much, doing the luge in the Alps. Was it a bobsled or a luge?
I have no idea.
But yeah, they're literally having a fist fight while on two sleds. And it is fantastic. One of the best, climactic villain fights that you see in some of the Bond films. I still would not say it was better than Connery versus Red Grant, but it's really up there. Your thoughts on this version of Blofeld?
I thought it was really cool. The level that he inspired the animators of Superman the Animated Series and the rest of the DC animated universe to go animate his Lex Luthor after him. Pretty much, yeah.
Though I do find it weird when it comes to Blofeld's whole plot. Okay, get all of the most attractive women from every corner, every country and ethnicity of the world. They deal with some sort of mental thing involving, food or other things. And you have brainwashed them to essentially release a deadly germ that would destroy all the food sources in the world and potentially kill people from illness. And you're willing to do this so the UN will acknowledge you as a count? Why do you care about this nobility? I mean, in the previous films, all you wanted was money or other forms of political power. Why do you care about this particular, acknowledgement of nobility? Why do you care? I mean, you went as far as to have your earlobe surgically removed so you could prove that you're, related to nobility. Why? I really don't get this.
Nah.
I mean, I understand the blackmail plot and willing to kill millions. I get that. You would usually do that for money, or you would do it to bring certain economies and governments down to their knees so then you could swoop in, but you're doing this just for a title? I think you know, in the process of, you know, gradual, you know, of gradual and dire actions, I don't think this would be as big of a thing pertaining to, like, economic or other government power.
Yeah.
I mean, your thoughts?
It's not really a great plan.
I mean, the overall plot is a good idea, but what he gets out of it doesn't really make too much sense to me.
Yeah.
But that aside, I really enjoy Telly Savalas as Blofeld. So now should we go into those helping Bond or those helping Blofeld?
Bond first.
Okay. We have Bernard Horsfall as Sean Campbell.
We're going to be seeing him during the Troughton, Pertwee, and Baker era of Doctor Who.
Yeah, he has a very small part in this film.
He's red shirt.
Yeah. I mean, there's usually at least one ally, you know, kind of in the shadows helping Bond.
Yeah, but we don't really see them interact at all.
No, they do not.
So, I mean, you couldn't really tell that he was an ally. For we know, he could have been with Blofeld up until that point.
Yeah, but then he ends up dead.
Yeah.
I swear. Every now and again, there's always that one ally that has to die.
Yeah.
And at least with all the other ones, Bond actually interacted with them.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel bad for Campbell. I mean, he was there trying to do his best, but his best wasn't good enough.
Yeah.
And then, of course, there's also George Baker as the real Sir Hilary Bray.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the man that orchestrates the whole meeting to go meet Blofeld, but Bond says he'll go in his place.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Sir Hilary is actually the first gay character in the franchise.
The movie.
Even though it's not directly said, but there's a couple things that it's kind of implied.
Yeah.
That's why when Bond is portraying Sir Hilary, some of the angels are like, I thought you weren't interested in women. But he proves otherwise. I mean, your thoughts on Sir Hilary?
Other than that, we didn't really get to know him that much other than Bond's interpretation.
True.
Yeah.
And then I guess we
go into the father.
Yeah. Mark-Ange Draco.
Yeah.
The father of Tracy.
Yep, the one who made Bond.
Played by Gabrielle Ferzetti.
Yep. Who made Bond. Kind of get with Tracy until they actually fell in love.
Yeah. The misogyny back in the day of she needs a man to take charge of her, to control her.
Yeah.
And I think you could be the man to do that. And initially he was going to pay Bond because, Draco is involved in a bit more nefarious, dealings. But Bond is like, no, I don't want your money. I want your information. I will court Tracy for the information. And I believe, didn't Draco, he was a part of the cavalry to save Tracy. Yeah.
And we never really get to hear about his thoughts after her death.
True.
Not even off screen from whoever was Bond, whether it was Connery or Moore.
I wonder if it was ever acknowledged in the books.
Maybe.
Yeah, that's a rough thing. He lost his only daughter.
Yeah.
But with what we saw of Draco, I did like him. The fact that he didn't flinch when Bond almost stabbed him with a throwing knife.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, apparently he has seen and been through worse.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess we now get into those working with or being manipulated by Blofeld. Starting with his second in command, Irma Bunt, played by Ilse Stepat.
Mm-hmm.
My God, is this woman intimidating?
Yeah, and very creepy, especially when she surprises Bond. When he thinks he's going to get with dollars or one, yeah.
Ruby, it's Hilly. I'm here to see you one more time. Hello, Mr. Bond. Plus, this woman has no qualms in using weaponry.
Yeah.
I mean, this woman is actually a really good shot. A really good shot. I mean, you really don't want to mess with Irma Bunt. You really don't. And the fact that with all the horrible things that she does, she never gets her come up. I would have thought it would have been an interesting, thing that maybe he said he took care of her or, got his vengeance over what happened to Tracy, but...
Yeah.
And I guess we go into the more important angels of death.
Yeah.
Angela Scholar as Ruby Bartlett and Katharina von Schell as Nancy.
Mm-hmm.
Nancy has, a nice little small part, but Ruby, though.
Yeah. She was kind of like the hot librarian.
Yeah. And she was the one that definitely had the most personality.
Yeah.
Apparently she's there because she's had this fear of chicken. Therefore she couldn't eat it. But apparently due to brainwashing, she can't get enough of it. And she's the one that really wanted Bond. I mean, to the point that she wrote her room number on his leg with her lipstick.
Yeah.
And yeah, she's one of the women Bond ends up... Was that all in the line of duty, or did he do that because he wanted to?
I think he wanted to.
Bro, you're with Tracy.
Yeah.
I thought you were falling in love with this woman, but yet you hooking up with, some of the women that could potentially doom us all.
Yeah.
Even though they don't know it.
Yeah.
I feel bad for them.
Yeah.
They almost killed millions.
Yeah.
But yet they actually did get help for some of their issues.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah.
I guess now we get into more of the good.
Yeah.
Overall, the plot is great, despite the whole Blofeld wanting to be a count.
Yeah.
But it really was a good plot. And the fact that they stayed very close and faithful to the original story helps. Like, most of the acting was good. I would definitely give it mainly to Diana Rigg and Telly Savalas.
Yeah.
The action fantastic. So much hand-to-hand combat with Bond, whether it's some of the men working for Draco, whether it's those working for Spectre, his big climactic fight with Blofeld, just so much fighting. And also, during some of the other things, like the ski chase and other things got very violent. I mean, we straight up actually see one of the Spectre skiers fall from a cliff to hitting the ground. I mean, it's not graphic, but we saw that man die in real time.
Yeah.
And then, of course, that other guy, that other Spectre agent during the ski chase, was it a wood chipper? Was it a snow plow? What? Either way, that dude got turned into a parfait. We saw that man fall into there, and then nothing but blood land on the snow. That dude got turned into a parfait. That's some pretty intense stuff. I mean, good Lord. And yet this is supposed to be, a romantic tragedy meets, spy espionage. And we just saw two guys die in really gruesome ways. I mean, your thoughts?
Well, I do agree with you with mainly everything you just said, so.
And also, it was great to finally see Bond and Blofeld have a full physical conflict.
Yeah.
I mean, in the previous film, Bond only got held up at gunpoint by Blofeld, only for Blofeld to escape.
Yeah.
So to actually see them have that full fight, and Bond being the reason why many years later, Blofeld, but not in name, is still in a wheelchair with a neck brace. That's because of Lazenby. As he gets dropped.
Even though we get this continuity with Diamonds Are Forever.
Very true. Oh, dear God. Was that supposed to be in a...
Because he was still having revenge for Tracy.
Yeah, even though he's being played by a completely different actor. I swear, why couldn't they keep continuity when it came to Blofeld? But then again, that was during the time where people weren't enamored with Lazenby or this film, so they were like, we'll acknowledge Tracy's death, but everything else that happened, no, that didn't happen. So why couldn't you get Donald Pleasance back?
Don't know.
I mean, no offense, but it would have made more sense.
Yeah.
Like we already said, the love story between Bond and Tracy, fantastic. The relationship between Bond and Moneypenny. And of course, we have to acknowledge the theme song. While it's not played in the intro, and this is the last time we have a Bond film that doesn't open with the main theme, we have to acknowledge quite possibly one of the most heartfelt songs, and it would actually grow to be one of the most important songs in this whole franchise. We Have All the Time in the World by Louis Armstrong. Yeah, this was actually one of the last songs Louis recorded before he passed. And every time I hear this song, I have that same feeling when I hear What a Wonderful World of it's so beautiful, but yet you also feel the sense of sadness. While he's talking about all these great things, all these beautiful things, there is that little sense of sad or melancholy that comes with it, because maybe not everyone in the world will be able to experience those things. Or those that do get it, they end up losing it. I mean...
Yeah, I do agree with you with those points of that song.
Very beautiful song, and I love the fact that they did end up bringing it back during the Daniel Craig era. You know, that was very fitting. Now we get more into the bad.
It's something that you already discussed already.
Yeah, George Lazenby's acting.
Yeah.
Irma Bunt not getting her comeuppance.
Yeah.
Dear God, the skiing scene went a bit too long.
Yeah. I do agree with you on that one.
Yeah, there were...
It felt like the underwater scenes in Thunderball.
Yeah. I mean, when there was like some true action, cool, but the other evading stuff, and then it went a bit too long. And also, still, bro, why were you hooking up with other women when you were courting Tracy? Why were you doing this? But he's James Bond, of course. And also, why was Irma the one that got to shoot the gun instead of Blofeld? Why was he driving the car and she... Well, I guess she was a better shot.
Yeah.
And also, this film does cause some narrative inconsistencies. Because we saw in the previous film, Bond meets Blofeld face to face for the first time, but yet in this film, they act as though they have never met each other before.
That's what happens when you film the books out of order.
Yes. Which ended up causing this whole debate as far as the canon in these films for years on, where people started this whole weird thing that apparently James Bond is a code name, and all these different guys aren't the same guy. Even though in this film we see Bond go to his office and he's looking at some of the artifacts that he's gotten from all the previous films, whether it's Honey Rider's knife, Red Grant's watch,
that picture of the Sean Connery Bond, the lead scene.
True. The breathing apparatus from Thunderball. But yet they do not acknowledge the fact that Bond and Blofeld haven't met each other. I mean, even when he's portraying Sir Hillary, it's still Bond. So, but fortunately, with them acknowledging Tracy's, the marriage to Tracy and her death during Roger Moore and Timothy Dalton, and I think they kind of allude to it in Brosnan. That is the one thing that links all of them together and acknowledges it's still the same guy.
So,
and one additional note that is a good thing: this film is technically a Christmas film. It takes place before, during, and after Christmas. And it actually has its own original Christmas song. Do you know where Christmas trees were grown? Do you know where Christmas trees are grown? So, nice little thing. It's just, be mindful how this film ends.
Yeah.
If you want to watch it on Christmas, if you want to have a happy Christmas, maybe end it at the wedding ceremony. Maybe.
But I think we should go into the scores now.
Okay, you go first.
I give this a 7 out of 10.
Oh, okay.
It was fine. Like I said, I grew through the Lazenby parts and all that. The button and Tracy Lebswer was the best part because Blofeld's plan doesn't really quite make sense. So yeah.
For me, I'm gonna give this a 7.5.
Mm-hmm.
I feel this was definitely a good film. It's just some of the inconsistent acting from George Lazenby, Blofeld's plot. Yeah, there are a few things you really can't, and the narrative inconsistencies you can't really ignore.
Yeah.
That bring this down. I mean, if Lazenby had been a more experienced actor, I probably would have given this an 8.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, some of those things you really can't overlook. But I do understand those that really do like Lazenby's portrayal of Bond. I get it. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's the fighter that becomes a lover.
Mm-hmm.
And, his one story is a very good one.
Yeah. But before we go, make sure to find us on Facebook, The Real Screen Team, where else?
You can also find us on Instagram, Reddit, and TikTok.
And make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share to our YouTube channel. It really helps a lot. And before we go, we move from this one-off Bond to a 2-off Bond.
Yeah, we get to discuss The Living Daylights, starring Timothy Dalton.
Want to roll us out?
Sure. Well, thank you all for watching. Definitely come back and watch us again. Remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share. It really helps. Well, cut, print, that's a wrap.